whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare of bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for our invocation, delivered by Kim Pax.
Please join me in prayer. Dear Lord, we come to you today with thanks for the gift of Rotary and for those who organized our meeting today, especially Dana. We thank you for our speakers, Edwin, Kyle, and Susan, and the transformational work done by Talitha Koum. Thank you for the opportunities you give us to serve you and to serve others. May we approach our tasks with wisdom, and may our conduct create an environment of cooperation and kindness. Open our hearts so that we are always ready to respond to you in your presence. We pray these things in your grace-filled name. Amen.
Reminder to pay your dues. If you have lost the email, can't find it, aren't sure if you did pay, they're going to be more than happy to help you with that. Remember on your dues, there's also a spot for you to give to the gift service fund. That is our fund at Challenge and Monetary Service Awards. So you can give to that fund at any time, but there is a spot on your statement where you can also give to that and to Rotary International. Second thing is birthdays. June birthdays. Gail Barte, Boyce Brown, Sam Brown, Cecil Dunham, Vicki Maynard, Kim Patterson, James Rainey, Inez Russell, Tom Schreiber, Martin Schwartz, and Larry Waden. Larry, can we sing happy birthday to you for a year?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Rotarians. Happy birthday to you.
All right, very good. I'll make sure that this is in a good position. If you did not see the email calling for all Rotarians, it is also on your table. If you missed completing that survey, we are looking for people for leadership positions for the Waco Rotary Club. It's important to our club. It's important and represents our motto, service above self. And so I just encourage you, this is not a huge time commitment if that is what you are wondering about and you have all the support in the world that you need. Otherwise, I would not have been able to be president this last year without all of the support of past presidents like Rosemary and Tyler, our assistant district governors. We've got Kay Paul, who will be AD next year as well. So you have tons of support. So if that is causing apprehension, I would just tell you that you have tons of support and we would love to have you. You can scan the QR code. If you don't like scanning QR codes, you can just give Joanne or myself a shout. I'll be glad to talk to you about it. All right? Okay. Today we have a great program. Very excited. We have Susan Cowley, who is the ED of Talitha Koum. Susan we actually have 3 speakers, so you get 3 for the price of one. And so we're excited to have all three of them. I'm going to go ahead and introduce all three of them. Can you guys hear me okay? Allergies have got my voice a little funny. Susan Crowley is a graduate of Baylor University and was for 35 years the owner of the Crowley Group, a marketing firm in Waco. In March 2015, Talitha Koum Institute's governing body called Susan to be executive director of this brain development program for trauma-affected children, which she helped to found more than 22 years ago. She was responsible for all aspects of fundraising and program development. Nominated by Waco's mayor, Susan was one of 10 Americans honored in 2003 with the National Lewis Hine Award for service to children and youth, given by the National Child Labor Committee. Ms. Crowley received the award in New York City and ceremonies held at the top of the Time Life building. Susan brings with her Edwin Weathersby. He joined Talitha Koum, Talitha Koum as Director of Advancement in late 2024 and has lived in Waco for just under 2 years. Edwin has worked mostly in the sports industry as a sports executive and athletics administrator before joining Talitha Koum, including 2 NFL teams, New York Giants and Cleveland Browns, UC Davis, Sports Illustrated, Bleacher Report, Student Sports, and All-American Games. He attended the U.S. Sports Academy, earned a bachelor's degree in sports management, master's in sports science, and a second master's in sports management. He is married to his wife, Precious, and they have a 3-year-old son, Edwin III. Our last speaker is Kyle Lang. Kyle is the family partner for Talitha Koum. He moved to Waco in 2005 as a freshman at Baylor, and 20 years later, he still proudly calls Waco home. Kyle has degrees in social work, Christian ministry from Baylor and Truett Theological Seminary. He has worked in church, school, and nonprofit settings. In his free time, Kyle enjoys playing outside with his 8-year-old son Eli, hiking the trails of Cameron Park, eating tacos, we all have that in common, and watching movies. Please join me and we welcome Susan up to the podium first.
So, I am starting my 8 minutes. We are going to have a video in just a minute. First, I want to tell you how your own brain develops. Most people don't know. They think, well, my arm got longer. My brain must have had a plan to wire up because I can think, I can process things, so it must have just wired up. Well, there was a plan. The plan was that your brain would wire up from the bottom to the top. When you were a baby, you were living a lot down here in your lower brain, your brainstem. It was doing all kinds of things for you. It was helping you regulate your temperature. Many things happened there, but then your brain did wire up. I'm thinking your brain helped you to become calm and alert at the same time, or you would probably not be in this room. This room is filled with people who can stay in their prefrontal cortex. If you can stay here, calm and alert at the same time, you can remember what I say. You can hear what I'm saying. You can remember it. If you're calm, and everybody here looks calm, but you may not be alert. You may be thinking about your next meeting. What is she going to say? What am I going to say? How is that going to go? How do I want it to go? So if you're in your next meeting already, you're not remembering, you're not going to remember anything because you're not alert. Children from deep, deep poverty live in environments where their brain does not develop the way yours has developed. Somehow, someone in your life helped you become self-regulated. Your brain develops not like your arm got longer. It does develop, and there is a plan. The plan is your brain develops on sequential experiences that you have over and over and over. Some of us are old enough in the room to remember what it was like to have a place at the table. I had a particular spot. I always sat at the dinner table. I knew that the meals were going to come there over and over. I was never afraid I wouldn't have something to eat. I knew where my room was. I knew where my bed was. And it was mine. It didn't belong to anybody else. I didn't share it. It was my bed. The sequential experiences you had over and over helped you move up through your brain to your prefrontal cortex and get this to where you could be alert. Your amygdala, this is neuroscience like, Kyle knows neuroscience deep. Your amygdala is in the middle of your brain somewhere, and it has a lot to do with your fear response. If you are fearful, you don't tend to be calm. Children from environments that grow up in chaotic, sometimes violent atmospheres are seldom calm or alert, except to be hyper alert. So I could be sitting here feeling really calm, but if I think the tiger is behind me, ready to pounce all the time, I'm hyper alert, I'm hyper vigilant for the tiger, but I can't be that and be calm enough to hear what you have to say and to regulate myself so that I can learn. So what we end up with sometimes are a bunch of children from deep poverty who never have a sweet food. Some don't have a buffer. A buffer can be a grandma who sees you regularly, who spends time with you regularly. If you don't have grandma who's a buffer, and you don't have to leave the tomb to help you become self-regulating, what is waiting in our country is the school to prison pipeline. It's hyphenated, it's documented, and we, America, is the only country in the world that has a school to prison pipeline. It is one of our greatest shames. It's out there waiting. And so the expense that of having children versus 5, some people say, oh, well, they'll go to school, everything will be fine. School will take care of everything. How can a teacher in Waco ISD have a class of 22 children when 8 of them are trauma affected and they're going on like hospital all day? Talk to any teacher. He will tell you this is a nightmare for them. So we're losing teachers. We're losing a chance to really teach children because they're not self-regulated enough to do it. The Nobel Prize winner in economics, Dr. James Heckman, won the Nobel Prize in economics for his work in early childhood. He came up with what he calls the Heckman equation, and for 20 years he's been studying it. He says that the greatest return of investment we can have is at birth if you have a high-quality program, early education. He says it's 13% ROI. 13%, and I sound high to you, but it's really high. He's saying, now you can work with youth, you can work in public school, but if you'll do it at the beginning of life, they may not get on the school to prison pipeline. In our experience, with our graduates is that 86% of them graduate from high school. The national average for children living in deep poverty is 64%. That's quite a nice little spread there. And of the 86%, 83% of ours went on to higher education. That's a really significant number too, and it's what we're looking for. I also want to tell you about our programs. One of them is the mentoring program, and it's one of the ways we keep up with these kids. Mine, my mentor, when we started, she was in first grade, graduated first in her family to go to college from Stephen at Boston, December 2 years ago. Her first job was at Methodist Children's Home. She's now moved on to Family Abuse Center, where she is a caseworker, and she texted me yesterday and she said, Suze, now she calls her Suze. Suze, could we have lunch this week? I just wanted to catch up. So I look after her for life, of course. So, my minutes are up, but I would like for you to get the lights, and I want you to see this video. So what you're watching is a real testament information about what we do every day.
Our school systems were set up on an idea that the brain would develop the way it was going to develop. There was nothing that you could do about it. Neuroscience came along and proved that, yes, the brain does develop in certain ways, but it's experience dependent. Every connection happens based on an experience, whether it's a good experience or a negative experience.
The nature of poverty, the chaotic, stressful nature is such that it is harmful to brain development in many cases.
At home, a trauma-affected child may have parents that are so stressed out that the stress becomes toxic. In that toxic stress, most things don't happen the same way day after day.
Children have this ingrained desire within them to learn, to create, and to explore. What's important for us is to create an environment that is conducive to that exploration.
We are quite different from child care. Our job is to do the kind of brain development that enables a trauma-affected child to be self-regulating, able to stay in their chair in the classroom, in kindergarten, and learn.
Talitha Koum started as a ministry of a church, and it still is today.
We were three women who came to a small area of Waco with deep poverty. We looked at many children and many teenagers who were having such a rough go in public school. They were not making it. 50 years ago, we knew that brain development was impacted by high levels of stress. What we didn't know was to the degree.
Their teachers labeled them as bad children. And of course the children never wanted to go back, because who wants to be labeled as bad?
We went down to the local public school, Sol Ross Elementary, and we said, what is your number one problem with entering kindergarten? I thought I knew what they would say. They haven't been read to, they don't know their letters and numbers, they're just not ready for kindergarten. That wasn't the issue at all. She said, their mental health is already shot, and they can't learn. At Talitha Koum, every child has a routine, and it's developed for them so that sequential experiences are a part of their life. When they come in the door here, they have a chair with their name on it. It is always in the very same place. The cot is always in the same place. Everything here says to them, we are safe, we're stable, we have a routine. It turns out that one of the things that the brain really likes is patterned rhythmic activities. If you watch little children when they play. They roll around on the ground, they jump up and down, they hang upside down. We used to think that that was just childish behavior. Now we know that the brain is actually compelling children to move their bodies in certain ways. We also focused on the conflict resolution piece, which we call problem solving. We come in very calmly, very calmly, and we help a child learn to solve their own problems that come about.
All throughout the children's lives, they're going to have to solve conflicts. And it's so important that they can begin right now.
Hundreds and hundreds of children in Waco are from these families and from these difficult situations where they end up in school and they're suspended again and again. We want to see that stop, and the way we stop it is to send a child to school able to self-regulate, ready to learn. We would love to have you come to Talitha Koum. I want you to see children who are being affected by this program.
I think what we do here is special. And I think that we do it with special children. And seeing and smiling with them in and of itself is enough of a reason to come.
When you entered Aramaic, Jesus said the word, Talitha Koum. My child, rise up.
I just want to tear up every time I see this video. And we've seen these children continue to grow up and succeed in school. My name's Kyle, and my title at Talitha Koum is Family Partner. So I am a social worker. I'm also a seminary Christian minister. I've worked in churches, and sometimes I am doing what we think of as social work, case management kind of stuff. I've got my clipboard, and we've got some questions of, oh, look, Mom, you qualify for these services, or you're sharing with me that you could use some support in this. Have you heard about our friends at this local nonprofit? And so I make lots of warm handoff kind of referrals, connecting our families with resources that some of them just don't know about because they're so busy going to their job, picking up their kids, and doing it all over again and scrambling to make their lives work. And so sometimes I'm doing very social worky, referral, networking, and connecting folks to resources. And other times, I'm helping a family manage crisis. Oh my goodness. When we have a tire that pops on our car, we can call somebody to help us change it. We can change it ourselves. But if a $120 new tire or a $40 used tire is beyond your budget, for some of our families, life stops. If they can't get to their next shift, booming. Life, it is crisis mode, it is stressful, and then they're problem solving. And I'm walking alongside parents in crises. And then also, sometimes I'm doing good old-fashioned parent education. Hey, Kyle. My 4-year-old and I get into, and I love this, my 4-year-old and I get the same argument every night around bath time and bedtime. And so we parents can nod our heads and say, oh yes, I remember that. And so I'm helping do parenting education and problem solving and just household routines. So I have the joy of being one part of Talitha Koum's larger mission and ministry. So we've got the Family Partner Program, and in the hinge practice for Family Partners, we've got consistent Parents' Night meals where we turn one of our classrooms, we move the kids' stuff out of the way, we set up a big long table where we can all gather and eat a hot meal together and have a moment where the kids are in the gym with our teachers and staff and volunteers, and we parents can gather for an hour, hour and a half, and some of the parents say, this is the first meal I've had in 2 weeks where I didn't have my 2-year-old crawling all over me and eating every bite of food before I get it into my own mouth. And so we get to build community, and we get to sneak in really helpful, practical parenting education in this community setting of Parents' Night.
So we have our family partner program. We also have our mentoring program, so that every child who graduates from us at the proud age of 5 or 6, ready to go off to kindergarten, we are able to connect with a mentor or mentor family. And that mentoring looks different from all of our different families. Some do every other Saturday, some do once a month. Some say, you know what, we go on a family vacation every summer and you come along to the lake with us. And we'll see, and then we do Tuesday nights and we take you, your mom gives us permission to pick you up from baseball on Tuesdays and take you home. So mentoring looks different, but there's that long-term consistency, because what we ask of our mentors is that they stick with our kids for until they graduate from high school and head off to either career or college. So there's family partner, there's the mentoring program, and then the biggest, most visible part of what we do at Talitha Koum is in the classrooms with children. We are open Monday through Friday, like a daycare, but we are so much more than a daycare. And one of the first differences, if you come and do a tour and visit Talitha Koum, one of the first things you'll notice that's different and distinct between Talitha Koum and other daycare programs, which we love daycare programs. We need more daycare programs in Waco. But what we do is just elevated and more thoughtful and trying to follow the research and do best practices in every aspect of the child's day when they're with us Monday through Friday. And so the first thing you'll notice is that we have 30 children, and that's the most we can take, and we have a very full staff. In each of our classes of 6 children, we have 2 full-time teachers. Often throughout the week, we have a full schedule of community volunteers and Baylor interns and MCC interns, and we're grateful to have this other support of other great volunteers in the classroom with us. But we always have 2 full-time, incredibly well-trained teachers with our 6 children. And those ratios make possible the feeling of the feeling of safety and security that children need as they move throughout their daily schedule in our program. So it's our teachers to kids, where each child is getting lots of one-on-one, lots of intentionality from our teachers. Every day at Talitha Koum actually is quite similar. When you've got a single mom with 2 kids, and I'm thinking about one specific mom who about every other month, her work schedule completely flips. And so right as the children are getting used to Monday through Friday, my mom's able to pick me up and put me down. Well, the next month, now she's got night shift. And so now I get picked up by my mom. She leaves at 5 p.m. And now I'm stuck in my aunt's house or at my grandma's house. And mom is doing a great job utilizing the resources she has of a trustworthy sister who can watch her kids, or a trustworthy grandma who can watch the kids. But that irregularity, that inconsistency can be so hard on a young 2-year-old. And so every day is rather predictable. They've got classroom time, and then gym time, and then outside time, and each transition is accompanied by the same patterned rhythmic song. Okay, we're going outside. Outside, outside to the swing. Who will swing first? Da 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 da. I mean, we have songs for everything. Larry, I thought of you. You would love being at Talitha Koum, just singing along with all of our songs. So we've got music and movement woven throughout the day. And let's bring this up real quick. We belong to a network of schools called the Neurosequential Model of Therapeutics. And there is this robust research instrument called a brain map, which takes about 6 to 8 hours of our friend Carol, who's an occupational therapist and is certified to do these brain maps. And so each of our children, about every year, are having an updated brain map, and this involves about 6 or 8 hours of child observation, parent interviews, some medical information, and it spits out a look at our brain. So this top one is an age-typical 6 or 7-year-old. And green is go, yellow is emerging, red means it's underdeveloped or not yet developed. So, and this top one, this top triangle, the bottom of the triangle is green, and it's our developed brainstem. And our limbic system in the middle is emerging, and then up high is what we think of as it's our prefrontal cortex, but that's what we think of as our thinking part of the brain, where I'm planning and I'm doing math in my head and I'm predicting outcomes. And so in a 6 and 7-year-old, those 7s that are yellow up top make sense because 7-year-olds aren't yet doing a whole lot of trigonometry in their head, and so those things are still developing. And then this is a specific client down below, and what we see when we get back brain maps on our children is that if there are deficits lower in the brain, there will necessarily be deficits further up in the brain. So we can't just start working on our numbers and letters more, which requires the prefrontal cortex. We need to start with the things that the neuroscientists and pediatricians and psychologists whom we're reading and getting this stuff, the children need more patterned, rhythmic, somatosensory, proprioceptive kind of input. Somatosensory means multiple senses engaged at once. Proprioception is that sense of where our body is in space. And so we'll get our 2 and 3-year-olds doing heavy work. They'll have a big, heavy 10-pound backpack and lug it to the gym with them as ways to incorporate more of this specific therapeutic, helpful things for the young child's brain. And so we have these on the children. Each child, we can develop a therapeutic plan with the help of our clinical team. And they'll say, this child is still lacking this fine motor skills or these gross motor skills. And I wonder if we can work more of this kind of thing into their day. So at Talitha Koum, you'll notice 6 kids to 2 very present, very attuned and engaged teachers with them throughout the day. And what I love, we got to give a tour to Michael Orr. To Michael Orr, the football player. He came and spoke at one of our events a couple of years ago, and he saw our gym with all of this, the swings and the bumpy slide and all this stuff. And he's looking around and he said, wow, this isn't just play. This is science. You guys are doing science stuff and science, research-based interventions in the daily lives of the kids in our program. And that's the kind of stuff you would see if you come and visit. And you'd also get lots of happy smiles and hugs from kids. Edwin, I'll turn it over to you.
Scott. Well, I'm a little bit more new to Talitha Koum and obviously Susan and Kyle, so I can't stand up here and speak about frontal cortex and those types of things. And I would put these smart glasses on, but my wife and my sister would probably tell you guys that they have not made me smarter, so I was going to stay here. But my name is Edwin Brunson II, as far as said earlier, but I am the Director of Advancement and for Talitha Koum. Now, a lot of people hear that title and they think, oh, you're just a money guy, you're just going around asking people for money, but no, that's not always true. But how I got to Talitha Koum, I am originally from Los Angeles, California, and my wife is from Queens, New York City, so we both grew up in environments that are very similar to Waco. And we moved here in the summer of 2023. I was formerly the Deputy Commissioner of the CIF in San Francisco. For those of you who are familiar with high school sports here in Texas, there's the UIL for public schools and then the private schools are TAPs. In California, it's one governing body called the CIF, and they break it up into 10 sections. Each section has a full-time office with a commissioner and staff. And I was the deputy commissioner for the San Francisco section. But yes, I've worked for 2 NFL teams. In 2007, I was an intern in the scouting department for the Cleveland Browns. At that time, they had just drafted Brady Quinn and Joe Thomas. I was asked to go pick up Brady Quinn when he ended his holdout, and it was like working for the Secret Service because they did not want anybody to know that he had signed his contract. And then I also was a part of when Joe Thomas finally came and arrived, and now Joe Thomas is in the Hall of Fame. And the following year, I worked for the New York Giants, and I spent my time getting my pizza stolen by Eli Manning and things like that. And I came 6 months after they beat the New England Patriots in that 2007 Super Bowl. And we started out, I believe, 12-0 that year, so I'm about 23 years old, thinking I'm about to get a Super Bowl ring. We lose the playoffs to the Eagles. A few years later, I leave, and the Giants win another Super Bowl, so obviously I messed everything up. So, but I am just thankful to be here. As I said, we moved here because I was recruited to be the athletic director at Bishop Riker, which I was for just about over a year. And one of the things that I built our athletics department here at Riker, if you drive down the street to this very day, you'll see RISE, and you'll see RISE and a lot of Riker hashtags and things like that. And it stands for respect, integrity, service, and excellence. And as I was at Riker, as you guys all know, I have a young son, and I realized that I was spending a lot more time with other people's kids than my own. And I started thinking about what I wanted to do in my next part of my career. And as I started searching, I came across Talitha Koum and this opportunity. And I noticed that Talitha Koum screams in the Bible, Jesus said, "My child, rise up." And I felt a connection. And around that time, one of my cousins, who, as I researched more and more about what Talitha Koum was and is, and the types of kids that, and families that it helps, one of my cousins, who would have been the poster child for the type of kids that benefit from our programs, was in college, and he had just got into college and he passed away unexpectedly in his mom. It really got me thinking. I really thought about my family. And as Susan mentioned earlier, there's a school-to-prison pipeline. I have 2 uncles right now who are in prison who would be part of that pipeline where they hear in Waco when they grew up in Los Angeles. And it really dawned on me that Talitha Koum is needed in every community across this country. And I like to tell people that with my experience, a little bit with relationship building and things like that, but just some guy off the street, after about 4 interviews, Susan was, I could say, crazy enough to give me an opportunity, but she was bold enough to give me an opportunity. So with that said, I really would like to forge stronger relationships with everyone across the community as a representative of Talitha Koum. And I invite any of you, I say this all the time, but I'm willing to meet anybody at any place. I would say any time, but I have a 3-year-old man-child that I wrestle at home every night and he comes to bed. But we receive 72% of our funding from individuals. And I think a little bit in the past, some of our fundraising at Talitha Koum has been a little bit more transactional. What I'm moving us toward, what Susan and Kyle are helping with, is moving our fundraising towards transformation. So we're looking for partners and community builders and helpers to forge relationships with all of you across the community to help kids that need the resources and the programming and the mentorships and all the things that we have to offer so that they have a chance to regulate themselves and put themselves in a prime position just so that when they get to kindergarten, they can learn. They can have access to more educational resources so that school to prison pipeline is stopped. And again, as somebody that's not from Waco, but I'm now in this community and invested in this community, seeing this community continue to grow, change, foster is important. And as we continue to grow and help these kids at Talitha Koum, you guys will see tangible results from a long-term perspective when you come and you invest, be it financially, your time, mentorships. You will be making a difference not only in the community that all of you are so proud of right now, but from a long-term perspective. And so, with that, again, be it from individual giving, corporate giving, Rotary clubs, anything, my role and what I want us to do and what we are doing going forward as a community is forging stronger relationships with like-minded entities that want to make a difference in our community. And that is at your table, as I finish up here, you guys will see that we left you a little bit of a gift and a card. Now, as Kyle mentioned, we have a great volunteer program that we do have some volunteer groups that come during the week, but most of the time it's Saturday morning. And as we're doing today, we would love to come speak with any of you, be it at church, social club. Next week, I'm going to be with Margaret and Campbell's at 7 a.m. and I'm part of that. Your business, and if you're interested in starting that process of seeing the mentorship is the right fit for you, then we'll want to open to that as well. And finally, I would like for all of you, if you've been to 6 months ago, 6 years ago, 16 years ago, what have you, come back. We would love to give you a tour and show you all the other great things that have been added subsequently since your last time. And that's at Clay. We will be opening up some point here soon, a second location at Lakeshore Baptist Church, but we would like for all of you to come see things at Clay. And last thing I'll say, Talitha Koum has helped me become a father. And I believe so much in what we're doing, and so much in what our staff is doing, so much in the high school curriculum, so much in our mission. I got my mother-in-law to come out here from New York City, and one of the first things I heard talking to her about was you have to come see me, was that you have to come see what we're doing. She came, she was blown away. And anybody else who I come across, I get invited. So I invite all of you to, if you have been to Talitha Koum, if you have not been to Talitha Koum, we are more than happy to show you around and give you a tour. And it'll be like myself and Kyle. Because Kyle gets upset at me because I have a lot of people coming in for tours, but I'd love to see all of you there as well. Thank you guys for your time.
Questions? Does anyone have, just stir up your thoughts about anything we do or about your brain? Program.
Age. What is the age or average age of your students?
What about your through probably second grade. But the earlier we get a child, the better off we are. If you can get them in 8 weeks, that's what we do.
And what's the screening process?
We became church in that neighborhood 35 years ago. And when you're in the neighborhood for a long time, people get to know you, trust you. And so in the beginning, they came from Cape Ross Public Housing neighborhood. As the years have gone by, they are from all over Waco, all over town. And our screening is really used to be we knew these people. We knew 4 generations. We knew great-grandma. We knew what they were up against, and we are hoping for the kind of children who are getting kicked out of childhood. We have had several children who have been ejected from 3 child care centers. Finally, somebody will say, have you ever heard of Talitha Koum? And they come, and we take a look at how the family's doing. It isn't just so much their income. We do a caregiver challenge estimator that Dr. Bruce Perry helped us become certified to do. When you do that caregiver challenge estimator, the challenge is about the stress in the home. How high is this family stress generally, and how does mom or dad feel their stress is with each different child in the home? That tells us the world that we need to know. We want families who are terribly stressed out. Toxic stress means that it's just keep coming, they can't stay ahead of anything. Every time they get a little ahead, then they get behind. They don't have a great deal of hope for the future. So we're there to give them hope, help. I was on it all the time. And it's fascinating to me. 2 years ago, we did a survey of the teachers, our parents, and we were asking all the social determinants to help, how do you feel about your employment? How do you feel about your neighborhood? How do you feel about your housing? The number one thing they said they wanted more of is education. It used to be somebody would say, I need a better car. I need more money. The message is beginning to really early get in that higher education helps you with a good job. You do better all around. So that was interesting, and we're following that all the time. So, yes, there's a QR code in the room. I'm responsible for whether I pay teachers. They are not paid enough. They are not paid like a public school teacher. That QR code, if you use it, if everybody in this room gave $20 a month, we would be thousands of dollars ahead by the end of the year. So if you spare $20 and you know how to use it, you are. If you ever learn how to use this, again, taking a picture of it. What is the picture? That's about her. Anyway, that QR code will take you somewhere, and it will take our children right into the home. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Edwin, Kyle, and Suze. We're so thankful for what you're doing in our community and the invitation to be a part of it. I was remiss in welcoming our guests, so I'm going to do that now. We have Carol Reynolds, who is guest of Sandy Bowles. We have Ignacio Vasquez, who is actually a visiting Rotarian who has transplanted here from Corsicana Club. And also Kristen Rose, who's guest of Michael Kavanagh. There you are. Okay. Welcome. We're glad you're here. We hope you'll come back and join us again. All right. Join us. Our next meeting is going to be June 23rd. It says speaker to be determined, but we'll take that as it's going to be a surprise. And so just put it on your calendars to be there. I know we're all very busy in the summertime, but I sure enjoy seeing you guys and missed you very much. And our last break was like 2 weeks. I felt like I hadn't been to Rotary in ages. So thank you so much. And now if you'll stand with me and recite the Lord's Prayer.